Hi guys and welcome. Today we're going to do these beautiful stamped tags using cabinet card pictures. Now the pictures that I've got are a digital print that I purchased from, they're called Antique Cabinet Cards from Tailor Made Journals. So if you go on Etsy, you'll be able to purchase these. There's a lot more pages, but I've only printed a couple out for today's project. Excuse me. Oh, I've got something caught in my throat. Yeah, so I've cut my own tags, which I'll go through the measurements with you as well if you're cutting your own. Otherwise, you can just use shipping tags. Then the measurement of this tag is, I'll do it in inches, 3.5 inches by 6.5. I've pre-cut some, but I'm going to cut one with you today just to show you how I get the top evenly spaced on each side. So I'll cut one here at 3.5. And it was 6.5. Now this one only goes to 6, so I'll just use one of my other tags just to get the length right. Now if the piece you've trimmed off the back, or it can be any scrap at all, as long as it's the same width as your tag, so this one is because we cut it off the end, you can see, I'll put it on this one, it's the same width. Then you can fold it in half like that, and then you cut the edge off to form your tag, and they're exactly the same either side. And then all you would do is put it on your tag like that and hold it, so make sure it's center, even at the top and the sides, and then just snip off the corners like that. Now I keep these, so I will write, like I've done on my scrap I used before, tag 3.5 by 6.5, and use that as a template. Write the word template on there as well, and keep them, so next time you won't have to do that step, so you'll have the same tags all the time. And then I pulled out a floral stamp that I've got, and I really love this one. It's a woodware stamp, and that's it there. It comes with a little sentiment, but it's just beautiful. I think they're, no, I thought they were paninis, but they're not. They're just a flower. Not sure of the name of them, but I really liked that one because I want to do some stamping on the background of the tag, which we'll do now. I'll do two. I'll do it in 2 different colors like that, and you could even use your craft card, or you can use white card, whatever you've got in your stash. You could use a pale blue, so it doesn't really matter. Have it light enough so on the reverse you can use for journaling, so when you tuck them in your journals you've got that extra journaling space. All right, so just pop that one off to the side. Now I've put, I'm using the Dina Wakley piece of ruler, and it's a good stamping platform for the larger stamps as well. Some people just use a bit of acetate for the bit bigger ones. So I'm just going to ink that up, and I'm using archival black ink, and turn it over. And the beauty of it being clear, I can see where I'm going to stamp. Now I want to get as close to the top because we're going to be seeing that bit, and we're going to be seeing a bit of the side. Just give it a bit of a firm press down. This is a relatively new stamp. I've only used it a couple of times, so I'm pressing because I want to get, and it wasn't quite crisp enough, but that's okay because we're only going to be seeing little bit of it. If you had a stamping platform, this is where it would come in really handy, because you could then stamp over it again. Now I'm going to turn this one upside down, and I want to get it across there, because I'm trying to get as much of the image on without overlapping. Not that it matters, because we're going to put our focal point on there. That's a better impression. And I'm going to do a little bit extra up the side here, just so we've got no blank spots. Once again, we don't want to overlap. If we wanted to bring more in there, we could mask off that other image that's already stamped. But I just want a little bit of texture coming in the sides there. Now I could try and reline that up, which I might do. If it doesn't turn out, that's okay, because we can always flip the tag and then put a bit of coffee dyed paper over the top there. Now I'm going to line this up as best I can. Without getting my head over the top with you guys. See how we went. Oh yeah, it's not too bad, because we got it dark. That was the main thing. I'm going to ink that, which will camouflage a little bit of that as well. Might do two while we're at it. So I'm using a little bit darker card here, and it'll show you that you can get different effects too from your inking. You could also emboss these. They'd be really stunning embossed in gold, or even a bronze. Just beautiful. You could leave it like that, just corner to corner, but I know that we're going to be putting a square there, so we don't want too plain of corners. This one down here is okay to leave a bit plain, but you want to have something sort of coming off the edge there if possible. Even if it's just the start of a petal like that and a leaf, it just adds a little bit of texture and interest. Lovely. And we'll pop that one off to the side. Now we're just going to ink it, and I'll show you that I'm going to use the same ink, which is walnut stain on both, just the different cards. I like these darker cards, even the craft card that we've got here just as a stamp off sheet. It can give it like a bit of a suede look. So I'm coming in quite a far in and going out rather than just on the edge like that, because I want the distressing to be quite wide. So we've got dark around there. See how a couple of these images were a little bit lighter than up here where we double stamp. If you bring your ink across and darken those up, it'll feature them as well. It'll make them pop out like that. Now this one is a different coloured cardstock, so using the same ink, and you'll see that you get different effects. Walnut stone's probably my favourite when distressing. Sometimes I find vintage photo a little bit yellowy, and I like the more darker brown textures. I do like scorched timber too, which is sort of like a really rich going into your more burnt looks. So there are your two different textures. Aren't they beautiful? And you know, you could go, I've got this leftover piece, while you got your stamps out, stamp that and keep, you could ink it up as well, but keep it because it'll be a nice belly band. I think I had a piece here this morning when I was playing around, see? So that'll make a really nice belly band on your, I'll put a lighter patch down. See? So keep it. You've got your stamps out, you know, they're already got ink on them. You've got scraps like that, pull your scraps out. You could even stamp it that way and cut that in half and have two pockets, notch it out. And then you've got some ready-made ephemera without any extra effort at all. All right, so we'll bring these two in. I might, let me throw a bit of white down there for you guys. There we go. White's probably a better background so you can see them a bit better. All right, awesome. Now we want to pick our cabinet cards or our photos. You know, you could use the Tim Holtz photo. If you've got photos of your own, you could definitely use those. So I'm going to, I think I'll pick these two here. And these are just printed on copy paper. If I was going to make them into a journaling card by themselves, or a tuck spot or a pocket or anything like that, I would glue them onto some cardstock just to make them more sturdy. But because we're actually putting these on some black cardstock, I'm not going to do that. I just need to decide what size I want to have them at. Because you don't want them too big like that. I mean, well, you know, you could put a fine black frame around it and have it like that. You don't want to cover up too much of your tag either. So I am going to cut them down a little bit and ink them up. So just because a photo comes in a certain size doesn't mean you have to keep it. You can cut it down to suit whatever project that you're doing. I'm not going to keep the bottom of that one, but I want to keep the photo in some form of a rectangle. I don't want to make it square. So she's left in a rectangle there, and then this one I'm going to do a similar size as well, or you could do it slightly bigger. So they turned out to be quite similar, nearly exact actually, just by eyeballing it, which is great. So lay them on there. You could ink them up and have some labels behind it or something like that. I actually like the idea of having a frame around the photo, which is why I went to the black cardstock, because we used black ink. So if you're using a different color ink, then you may want to use different color frame. So I've got a scrap piece here. Let me see if it's wide enough, which it is. And to give you measurements on that, because I gave you measurements on the tag, the photo ended up being just over 2.5 by just right on 4 inches. And then the black cardstock will be 3 inches by 4.25. So I'm just going to cut those, and it looks like we might get 2 out of this scrap. So 4.25. And I'll be lucky enough to get 4.25. It's just shy of it, but we can make it work rather than cutting into, because we want to use up as many scraps as we can. Now you can leave that square frame like that, which I think I might do. I rounded my other one, but I think I actually like the square on that. So before we ink and glue that down, I then wanted a number or something underneath, and I had these printed out. I've just finished cutting them up actually. I'll show you. It's all strips, and I'll put the link down. It was a digital download as well, and off the top of my head I can't think of the name, and it had some circles in the printout as well, some circles and ovals, but I'll put the link to that Etsy shop down the bottom, because got so much out of these. They're already pre-inked, even though I will ink them again myself, but really good value for that. And then I just cut a little bit of, once again, your scrap black, and I'm going to cut it down a bit. But you just want a little bit of a border, similar width to what you've got on your photo. And these are going to end up being shorter, which is what I want, because we want to feature it as a separate piece. But I may trim it down even just a little bit more, I think. Just make it a little bit narrower. And we're going to rough up the edges so they don't have to be too exact. And then just do this second one. I'd already started roughing up the edges on this one, and I'll show you how to do that. So I've got this distress tool. It's a Tim Holtz distress tool, but you can also use your scissors to rough up. We just want to get a bit of a tatty edge on it like that. So if you don't have one of these tools, so you put your thumb there and they've got little blades in there, you just rough it up. Can't hurt yourself this way. Scissors, you've just got to be really careful. Just get rid of the excess there. This one here. So you're starting with a nice straight edge, and we're just gonna just distress it a bit, make it a bit ratty, give it a bit of an antique look. Doesn't matter if your card folds and creases, that just adds to the antique look. I'm not going to do it on the photos, just the frames that they're on, because they're only on normal copy paper, and you wouldn't get the same effect. They would actually just tear. If I had it backed on card, then yes, I would. You could do a bit of sanding on the photo too, to distress it a bit. I'm not doing that today. I'm actually out of sanding discs at the moment. I've got more on order. Obviously we've got to ink that, but you can see it just gives it that ratty edge. Let's do this one over here, and then we'll ink and glue. And of course you don't have to do this either, you could leave them as a straight edge. I just thought doing something a little bit different today. And I've had these cabinet cards printed up for quite a while actually. I was going to make some pockets out of it, and when I pulled my stamp out this morning, it sort of one thing led to another, and I thought I'll make some tags. I'm just going to get rid of that excess cardstock shavings there. Alright, so let's ink these and glue them down. Distressing like this gives them their own frame as well. So like I said, if you didn't want to have the black behind, then distressing like this will frame them anyway. And I'll show you what I mean. So now it's got its own bit of a frame, but I do like the black frame under it. It just sets off the black floral backgrounds. And then you just pick out sort of what you wanted. I liked the numbers with a little bit of old handwriting. And this one actually has got some really good handwriting on it. So, and we'll just ink those ones and then we'll glue them all down. If you didn't want to use photos, then you could, you know, put some numbers down here, or a saying. You could have flowers, butterflies, leaves, anything you wanted. It was more the idea of using your stamps a little bit differently, and using them as background stamps is what I hope to do a little bit more of, because, you know, we pay money for our stamps, and they should be more than a one-use wonder, whether we're making cards, doing journals, in this case backgrounds. Also saves you buying background paper too. You could stamp that on some white or cream and get your watercolor pencils out, which I will definitely be giving that a go as well. So the forecast here in Australia today is a lot of rain coming over the next couple of days. It's supposed to start today, and the clouds are starting to roll in, but there's no sign of rain just yet. We certainly don't need any. We've had a lot through summer, and everything is still relatively damp. So now coming into winter, we certainly don't need any more moisture when there's no sun to dry it out. All right, and then now we're going to stick these down. So sort of have a play around what you like. You don't necessarily have to put it, you know, squash it all down the bottom there. I actually like it up the top, and I like to have a bit of a gap between it's like a nameplate or a, you know, a word or whatever you decide to put their number. And that way you're also highlighting the majority of the background. So see what I mean about there's a little bit of a gap on this one. So I might pop a leaf or something in there off the stamp, just because everywhere else doesn't have a gap. Oh, there it is. Just off the edge there, just to fill that plain void there, just so it doesn't feature that where it had no pattern. And it doesn't matter up here because, you know, we're going like that. We're putting him about there. So I'm going to glue that one down. If you wanted to, you could also have this as a pocket on the front of your tag, but I want the tags to be more journaling spots. And if we put pockets on everything, our journals become that full. They're really hard to manage and to use. So just a bit of an equal distance top and bottom. Try and get it as centered as possible. I'm only eyeballing here. Beautiful. And then the same with this one. The glue I'm using, I know I get a lot of questions about that, is Art Glitter Glue. So it's a great glue. It glues most things, but one thing to take into mind with it, once you're down, there's not a lot of wiggle room. So if you're going to wiggle, you wiggle it now, because about now it's adhered. There's no moving it. And then the same with this one, center it and leave a gap top and bottom, pretty well much a similar distance. You could put some lace or something under that too if you wanted to. I'm actually leaving them quite plain today because that's the type of project I'm going to put them in. You could have your lace up the top as well. And then I'm going to put an eyelet up the top. So this tool that I'm using, it's called a Crop-A-Dile. I usually have them in my shop, which I will link below. They're currently out of stock and they're a little bit hard to get hold of at the moment. But it is quite an outlay, but it's a tool I use nearly every day. So it's definitely worth the money. It punches the hole and it then sets the eyelet, which is I'm just about to show you. So you just pop the eyelet through the hole there. And then, so it was these functions up here. If I slightly close that, you'll see that's what punched the hole. I used the big one. And then down here is the eyelet setter. And it reinforces the cardstock. So if you put a bit of string or ribbon through there and pull it, you're not going to rip your hole open. So it's like a bit of a framework for the hole. And you can put twine, wool, ribbon, anything through there. Now I'm going to ink the background, or the backs of these. You can use coffee dyed paper. If you're using a fairly light plain cardstock like this, then you simply just have to distress the edges, and you've got some beautiful journaling space on the back. You can also make your tags as big or as little as you like. I like this size because it gives you lots of journaling space. I'll just do it on one of these, but you can add a little bit of ribbon to the top. This is just some seam binding. You can put string, anything you want up there. So there we go, guys. Cabinet cards. These pictures are from, like I said, Tailor Made Journals on Etsy. I will put the link below for you as well, and I will also put the link to these beautiful number tags that I have printed out as well. But check it out, have a go at these, get your stamps out, do some background stamping like I've done. Great way to use up your scraps too. You can make all different size cards. I'll put the measurements in the description for you. But I hope you've really enjoyed today's project as much as I've enjoyed doing it with you. Please like and share my channel. I love seeing new subscribers coming daily at the moment, which is fantastic. And if you've got any questions ever, just throw it in the comments, and I always answer all my comments with you guys as well. But thanks, guys, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks, bye.